And so to figure out how much energy these would produce at any given time, I needed to find the schedule of production, or the power curve. And if I found the information, this is generally how it was. There was no equation, no schedule, it was a graph. So I had to do quadratic regression to get a formula where I could plug in my 10 miles per hour to figure out exactly, or pretty close, to what these would produce. And the monthly values, there's no prediction for the winds. You can't say, oh, you're always going to have 75% of the time being at 10 miles per hour. So I minimalized the amount of time that the 10-mile-per-hour wind would be blowing to 2/3 of the month, 2/3 of the year, 2/3 of the day. And that would also include any maintenance times, times that had to be shut down due to inclement weather where it may not be operable, etc., etc. The only turbine company that had, either through contacting the company or on their website, all the information was a model called the SkyStream 3.7, and its rated capacity was 2.4 kilowatts, but that's at 22 miles per hour. And as I previously stated, our average is only 10 miles per hour. We're a little short, which is just barely over 8 miles per hour at the cut-in speed for it to even start spinning. One of the downsides of this is the average cost is $15,000. And it was built not to put on roofs, but instead on utility poles and on parking lot poles. So with this information and the power curve of the SkyStream 3.7, I regressed outputs, and then this blue bar is our 10 miles per hour. And I projected the energy savings using the costs. Let's see. Whoop. Okay. Maybe I need a little wind up here. But as you can see, I computed using the usage costs, or the usage per month, and the utility cost per month, the average usage per year. And then using the latest data, I went ahead and I projected it all the way out to next year as a way to look at this. And this is actually what I used in my projections, just saying, hey, we're going to do this in this summer. Let's just see how it'll play out from there. And that's what this is reflecting. Now, the problem with this is you can't just say, well, it's going to increase forever at that rate. It's not. So what these figures reflect is baseline, always at that price. It's freezing that price as what's going to be on forward. And as you can see, the savings for installing one of these turbines is $5 a month. So it would not pay for itself. And as you probably noticed, this is not an exact science. It's not by any means, and so there's always room for mistakes. So like I said, production times the price per kilowatt hour equals the potential. And the problems I found with this was, there was not enough data for the long-term costs. I had data only going back to 2006 for the Northwest Missouri State Campus, and that was for the campus as a whole. There was not any individual energy usage data available. And another idea is, as we get into this new alternative energy bid, we may have lower supply, which may increase costs due to, you can call anything. Obama may come out tomorrow and say, hey, we're switching to all electric cars. And you can bet electric prices are going to skyrocket. And another problem with this was it's the average of an average of an average. So at any point in the way that there's a mistake that's made, it's just going to be compounded. And I'm not a wind technician. I'm about to graduate, so there's probably a high chance that there was an error made somewhere along the way. So the limitations, obviously, Mother Nature, Goldilocks and the prevention of data. I don't think our campus liked me going out these 9 or 10 times and giving her a breathalyzer, as I kept thinking about it as I was out there. Another limitation was safety on the ground and the roof. That was a big limiter on the rooftops because I had to arrange an appointment with one of our environmental services members to go up on the rooftops to take this data. And one of the biggest, and probably the most frustrating thing was the information on turbines. Like I mentioned before, the only one I was able to find a full profile on was a SkyStream 3.7. You either had the power curve, and that was it, or you had the cost, and that was it. You did not have both at the same time. Unfortunately, there is no consumer reports guide to small wind turbines. And the problem with how I did it, because I tried, throughout this entire project, I tried to do it simple and cheap. So it could be easily replicated by high school interns, that might be looking for a summer job or for summer volunteerism. And by having one person do this for just this small area, that 2.5 hours, a lot can change with the weather. You could have a cold front move through, you could have sunset, sunrise. I tried as much as possible to minimize this, but it is a limitation for further research. And just to show you the changes in time, these are actually wind roses for the times of year. I actually did my research during the windiest time of year, December through January, processing into that area. This is actually one for March, which is the windiest month, at 5.56 meters per second, or about 12 miles per hour. But the way we get our average for the year is in July, the wind almost completely dies off to about 9 miles per hour. So my conclusions are, these vertical axis wind turbines are there's too many questions surrounding them to say that it's a viable source of energy. And it's not just my opinion. I have talked to faculty with the wind research group at Kansas State,